Hello again everyone, Saka here and welcome to an iRacing video. Longtime viewers of the channel might remember that myself and Brandon used to race 2K3 year in and year out, and Brandon is a member of the Fast Track Sim Racing Truck Series, and he convinced me to join him for the first race at Daytona. Now this is my first league race ever, and we are in the X4 Silverado there. Brandon is in that number 24 DuPont Toyota on the outside. And on the pole for this 80-lap race is Kenneth Bartholomew. And pretty decent start for us. Kenneth gets out to a lead. And for the early part of the race, we just wanted to manage our P's and Q's, not bend up the truck in any way, be nice and respectful. And since we were back towards the back, we could sort of ride, pick and choose our lines that we wanted to, and not get into too much trouble. Just don't lose the draft. And already we see the 17 truck on the bottom letting folks go by. Obviously they're on the Dale Jarrett strategy of just hanging back, trying to avoid any big wreck that might occur. Meanwhile, Brandon was working that bottom, moving up into the top 10. But on lap 7, the bottom got really disorganized. Some gaps were starting to form on the bottom, and that allowed that Kodak truck to pull us on by up to 12th in that outside lane. And we were just making runs, and we actually got past Brandon right there, and we would continue to work together throughout the race. Brandon also worked out a little bit of a deal with Ryan Sharrow there in the 34 Nerf truck. And we agreed that we were going to hit with each other, be on the same channel, and basically be each other's drafting help when need be. But I was trapped up there on that high line, couldn't get down in front of Ryan, didn't want to chop his nose, but we would find each other eventually. But a nice long green flag run to start this truck race. By lap 13, however, we managed to get to the bottom, and we see Ryan and Brandon there to the right side of your screen, just sort of dropping back, watching this pack unfold. But I was feeling a bit racy, wanting to get to the bottom and see if we could work our way to the front. And luckily the bottom line was pretty organized, and we were able to get up there and mix it up a little bit. On lap 29, however, trucks started to get single-filed out a bit as pit stops would look to start within the next few laps. Most drivers were cutting this into thirds, or at least running this first fuel run as long as they possibly could. So we sat there in fifth waiting for pit stops to start, and we're already 1/3 of the way through the race. The first taker to pit road, Jared Bundy, and he brings down a group of trucks, but we stayed out on the track. The next lap, lap 31, a lot of drivers communicating that they were going to come to pit road, so we were waiting on the 81 and the 13. I was looking for Brandon. We were talking with Ryan to see when they wanted to pit, but they peel off, and lo and behold, in my first race, I get to lead a lap through pit cycle just barely over that 39, but one lap led here at Daytona, leading the way. Next lap, lap 32, there goes Brandon and Ryan. They made the call to pit when I was already past the entrance, so luckily I had the 39 truck to help me out, but we'll stay out one more lap, pit with the 39, and see where we all shake out. Lap 34, we came out behind Ryan. Here comes the train, passing us on the outside. Those would be the leaders. And pit stops, green flag, definitely separated the pack. As you can see, the big gaps between all of the drivers. Luckily, I was able to hang on to the 39. There's Ryan coming up behind that Kodak truck, and looking for Brandon as well. He should be by shortly. And there is Brandon latched onto the back of the 51 of Jeremy Clifton. And I'm feeling pretty good now that we came out. Brandon's right behind me. He can help push forward. Ryan in front of me. So we got our partners, but we just need to get a little bit more tighter as we near the halfway point of the race. So Brian Conklin leads going into turn 1. That is the first lead pack. Myself and Brandon realized that we're starting to lose some time, so we try to get nose to tail and get some pushing going. So lap 41, we were trying to stay single file, keep the gap as small as possible to the leader, but they were starting to stretch out. I was pushing Brandon for all I was worth, but it seemed like the trucks up in front just weren't tucked up tight enough. We weren't making up any speed, but we were doing our best to track those leaders down. Lap 49 of 80, Ryan and Brandon agreed that, hey, if Brandon goes to the top, all three of us will go and see if we can lead this pack a little bit faster around the 4 and the 30. So we broke to the outside. I gave Brandon a big shove, and Ryan right there on our rear as well. Let's try to get to the front, everyone. So lap 51, less than 30 to go. And myself, Brandon, and Ryan were able to chop a few tenths each lap out of the lead. We certainly weren't going to track them down with any speed. A caution would be extremely handy at this point, but with the pack so strung out, we couldn't count on a yellow flag, so we were just pushing all we were worth until the final pit stop. Coming to 15 laps to go, everyone starts peeling off in our little group, getting down to pit road speed. Me and Ryan touched just a little bit, no harm, no foul, maybe just a ding on the sheet metal, and we were all in agreement. 2 right side tires and just enough fuel that the crew chief wanted to put in. This would put us extremely close, and we have enough for 1, maybe 2 green-white checkers, but this series goes 3 green-white checkers. So if there's 3, we're going to be in trouble. Lap 66, you can see our group is much smaller than we started. The 4 and 39 are still with us. Ryan lays back just a little bit so that we could start sniffing that draft and get up there. And we're still 12, 13 seconds behind the lead pack. It's going to take a big caution to get us all racked up. Though on that same lap, as I mentioned, we needed a caution. The 73 gets turned, our pole sitter, Kenneth Bartholomew, but he locks it down, gets going, although we do have a bit of a scary moment. As Kenneth makes his way to the apron, Brandon thinks he's coming up the track. We jump up, no harm, no foul. Coming to 12 laps to go, we pick up a few more trucks, but certainly we do not have the head of steam that the leaders have. As we were coming through the tri-oval, the leaders were having a scrappy battle. With 12 laps to go in a tight pack, it's a shame we weren't up there to dice it up, but you can just see how much space there was between the leader Tyler Marble and our little 5-truck pack. But on lap 77, our prayers in the back are answered as leaders are tussling with some lap trucks. There's some bumping, banging, and then once these trucks get a little loose, they are extremely hard to catch, especially when someone's right on your rear bumper. Mark Zabot gets turned off the nose of the 06 as he gets out of shape, right into the 48 of Tyler Marble, blocking the whole track and bringing out our caution that we need to catch up, taking us immediately to overtime. So end of regulation, coming to lap 81. We are starting in 12th for the first overtime. Ryan is right in front of us, a big gap behind Brandon, and I am eyeing that space. The 13 giving us a pretty good shove on the top and just going for broke. As there's only 2 laps in the race, but right there, big crash behind us. The 30 Haviland truck of Glenn Grisby tries to close the door. Not enough room. Gets himself turned across the 10, bringing out overtime number 2. And join me for the last 2 laps, the final green-white checker restart. that, side by side, Brandon will take the win. Just 0.025 seconds. We come across the line in fourth as we scrape up that right side. So the last lap, we happen to be in the right place, the right time. We see the 17 get turned in front of everyone. That slams Ryan up into the wall. Calamity behind us as one is in the fence, but we race to the checkered flag, thankfully. Down the backstretch, the 37 truck moves down in front of Brandon. He thinks about going to the top, but gets back in line. 37 moves to the top with a run. Brandon follows him through, and I follow Brandon, and already trucks spinning behind us and trucks spinning beside us. Brandon giving that 37 a massive shove, goes to the bottom, door slams, slows each other down, and across the line. What a finish. And of course, no race finish would be complete without the patented pit maneuver that me and Brandon usually do when we win. But a good race for Brandon, and thanks to Fast Track Sim Racing for having me out at Daytona. It was a clean race up until 3 to go, so 77 clean green laps. Couldn't ask for anything better. But that will do it for me in this episode. I hope you enjoyed getting a little sneak peek into my very first league race ever. Congratulations again to Brandon. Just how he drew it up, eh? Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.